and welcome to the 2021 Year in Review Show. I'm Elena Cugino.
And I'm Logan Sella. As you know, 2021 was quite the year. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get right to it. The final Township Board meeting of 2021 looked back at what the Township accomplished this year. Notable highlights and accomplishments include the continuation of the deer management program, upgrading the Meridian Township website, increased development in downtown Okemos and Hazlet, reduced demand for the COVID hotline, and a new Trader Joe's, among many other accomplishments of 2021. Frank Walsh, Township Manager, gave a presentation highlighting the Township's achievements this year and wanted to note key people before he began.
I want to acknowledge the team members that we have here. I thought the Okemos soccer coach talked about how if everyone is doing their jobs and their positions and their roles, great things happen. And it reminded me of everyone sitting at this table and everyone at the head table and everyone on Zoom.
While the board looked back on what they achieved this year, they also looked to the future and set goals for 2022. Speaking of township projects, one that underwent a lot of progress this year was the Village of Okemos.
Yeah, Logan, 2021 was very instrumental for the project, including demolition all the way back in January of 2021 to now. But Township Manager Frank Walsh said the developers are not making as much progress as he would like.
We continue to work with the Village of Okemos. We're doing everything we can do. I'm not going to run through the litany of DDA and Brownfield and Meridian Redevelopment Fund and all the things that the township has done. We've done more than our share. If we're trying to meet somebody at midfield, we're on their 35-yard line. They need to come up closer to midfield.
There are no other recent developments. However, we will be following this project into 2022.
Another project that got a lot of attention this year in Meridian Township was the possible addition of a new emergency room to the Sparrow Hospital on Jolly Road. Perhaps the most crucial step came in a June 15th Township Board meeting, where the board voted in favor of a rezoning that would allow them to add nearly 12,000 square feet to be used for an emergency department. This was met by some pushback by township residents, as there were many divided on the issue throughout the summer before the special use permit for the property was approved by the Township Board in a July 26th meeting. There have been no recent developments at the construction site at this time. We will keep you posted on any news that we hear on the matter in 2022. Sparrow was also in the news throughout the fall. On November 3rd, Sparrow caregivers held an informational picket outside of the hospital in Lansing, demanding better working conditions and a new labor contract. An estimated crowd of well over 1,000 gathered on both sides of Michigan Avenue dressed in red to show their support for Sparrow healthcare workers, including nurses, pharmacists, and scientists who have been working without a contract since the end of October. The evening included a number of guest speakers, including State Representative Sarah Anthony, and we got to speak with a couple of employees who were looking to voice their concerns.
We need recruitment and retention because staffing this hospital has always been a problem. Retention is the issue here. We need to retain our caregivers. We need to do that proactively, not reactively.
We just need a contract where we can retain, maintain the staff that we have, and attract newer nurses and newer health professions to us. For me, the most upsetting thing is just we need the help. We need to be competitive with these other healthcare systems. They say there's a nursing shortage, but if they're not going to be competitive for the nurses that are available, they're not going to come here.
However, just this week, Sparrow and PESH, the union that they're responsible for, reached an agreement on a new 3-year contract, avoiding a strike. The new deal includes pay increases, improved sick time for caregivers, and guaranteed access to personal protective equipment. Unfortunately, 2021 was also year 2 of the COVID-19 pandemic, but it was not without a silver lining, namely the vaccines that are now widely available.
That's right, Logan. Michigan made history with the first administered COVID-19 vaccines around this time in 2020. And in 2021, over 6 million Michiganders ages 5 and up have gotten at least one dose of the vaccine. On November 15th, Michigan hit its milestone goal of 70% of the state's population over 5 years old receiving their shot. On October 22nd, a candlelight vigil was held in honor of those who lost their lives due to COVID-19. Turnout was low, but spirits were high as the event host, Rhiannon Klein, along with their family, reflected on their experiences from COVID-19 and lit candles for those who lost their lives. The vigil was sponsored by the AIDS Healthcare Foundation. Rhiannon explains why an AIDS nonprofit is doing a vigil for COVID-19.
30 years ago when HIV first became a pandemic, we would have, many candlelight vigils to honor those who were losing their lives to HIV. And we felt that now is the time with COVID-19 and how many people we've lost far too soon, to be honoring them in the same way, doing a candlelight vigil.
Rhiannon and her family want people to do what they can to stop the spread of the coronavirus so that people like her 2-year-old daughter can experience what it is like to live in a world without the devastation of COVID-19. A majority of businesses now have open doors after having to completely shut them down over the pandemic. But what many are discovering is that it's harder than ever to find employees. We go to Lucy Van Regenmorter on the job market from last June.
Across Ingham County, now hiring signs have seemingly sprung up on every corner, with some establishments even closing early due to understaffing.
I have to work more shifts, I have to work longer shifts, and even while I'm working the shifts, there's more things to do because we don't have enough people.
Michigan's seasonally adjusted jobless rate inched up by 0.1 percentage point during May to 5.0%.
We are starting to see some more movement with candidates reaching out and responding and starting to interview. But I think it's going to take a while, certainly, to get us back to where we were at with levels pre-COVID.
COVID safety is still a concern for many.
We also know that a lot of people are still feeling some level of insecurity about returning to the workforce because of the COVID pandemic. So we know from the employers and the job seekers both that we're working with that that's a critical part of helping people feel comfortable and safe re-engaging is to understand what employers' protocols look like and what safety procedures they have in place to make sure that people are helped to feel comfortable as they are looking at those employment opportunities again. Michigan Works Business Services have been working directly with employers across all different industries and really helping them to look at, what are the practices that they had in place before COVID? What have they been doing during COVID to engage people in a different way? And what are their plans moving forward?
And even now, companies are struggling to find workers. For help finding a job or qualified employees, you can visit the nearest Michigan Works.
In Meridian Township and across the country, houses have been flying off the market for prices well over market value. Wonder why? Well, Elena, you stopped at an open house back in June to get some answers.
Yes, I did, Logan, and what I found out is really surprising. Check it out. The housing market is booming right now. With a decrease in inventory and an increase in potential buyers, houses like this behind me are going for well over asking price.
It's a great market for both the sellers and buyers. And in place like Okemos, where people want to come and live because of the school system, there are not enough houses and there is not enough land to build new houses. A good house priced well sells for the full asking price or anywhere between 3 to 10% more than asking price.
You have to be really quick now trying to find a home because the homes are scarce. And buyers, they want certain things, and there's just not a lot on the market.
With ups and downs, the housing market seems to be at the summit for sellers.
I would suggest to the buyers just to keep their faith. The house will come around and it will be the one that's meant just for them. Sellers, on the other hand, are not having any problem. It's the best time right now. Interest rates are low and it's the best time to put their house on the market. They'll have no problem whatsoever trying to sell it.
For HOMTV, I'm Elena Cugino.
Modi also said that the market is not likely to crash from the high prices due to the fact that demand is so high as well. So 2022 could still be a right time to buy, sell, or just look for a new home.
Also this year, Meridian Township added micro pantries to a few extra locations around town. HOMTV's Isabella Martin spoke to Township Clerk Deborah Guthrie and Tom Moore back in July to find out more.
Micro food pantries, a new operation in Meridian Township geared to helping members of the community.
We had someone from the community approach us about the need for food pantries and mini pantries, not just food, but to be able to stack it with some other items as well, some household items that people would need. We were approached by someone in the community to assist with putting more mini pantries up in the township.
CADL head librarian for Hazlitt, Tom Moore, and Township Clerk Deborah Guthrie organized household items and filled the Hazlitt and Okemos library pantries with donated items from the Meridian Company.
It's a really great opportunity for us to reach out and provide a different level of service to the community, and we're really hoping that this pantry at the library helps.
Hazlitt and Okemos libraries have 2 out of 3 donated pantries. Community members can donate items, and people in need can anonymously pick up non-expiring food and other essential items that are non-perishable.
Sponsoring a pantry and doing something so community-focused is sort of what the library is all about.
While they may be called micro, the impact that these pantries will have in Meridian Township will not be small. In Meridian Township, Isabella Martin, HOMTV.
More information about these micro pantries, which were open from May to July, can be found on the Meridian Township website.
We talked about businesses opening their doors. Now let's talk about schools. When Okemos Public Schools brought students back inside the classroom, they didn't know how long it would be for. Our own Katie Schroeder talked with Assistant Superintendent Stacy Bailey back in March to find out what protocols they had set in place.
We're excited to have our in-person students come back.
And on March 8th, Okemos Public Schools will start welcoming elementary back.
Our kindergarten and first grade students come in. For many of them, this is their first time coming into the building. They've never been in the building before. So we wanted to give them some time before we filled it with all the other students, to give them some time to get used to the surroundings and the procedures.
The first transition week will also help other students adjust.
We will be doing different tours at our secondary buildings. So at Kenowa and Chippewa in the high school, for our new students or students who are new to the buildings this year. So our 5th and 7th and 9th graders have never been in their building yet.
But buildings won't be the only new thing students will have to adjust to.
All masks are required throughout the building and throughout school grounds, also on transportation. Reminders throughout the building to maintain that 6 feet of social distancing. Arrows in the hallway to support student direction and student movement in the halls, prevent congregating. So we want students to come into the buildings and not gather in groups.
And not all COVID-19 safety measures will be seen.
We have added the MERV filters to all of our air units. We're also getting ionization units for those. And so those are things that, might not be as obvious, but those are also things that have been gone into place so that we can really reduce any potential for any spread through the air with particles.
In Okemos, Katie Schroeder, HOMTV.
Many Michigan schools were racing to increase in-person learning by the March 22nd deadline to receive more COVID-19 relief money. As of now, though, nearly all Michigan schools are doing in-person learning.
Well, we are staying in school for this next story, so get those pencils ready. Katie Schroeder is back, and she talked with Michigan Education Association spokesperson David Krim in August about the upcoming current school year and a teacher shortage crisis.
College students are deciding in large numbers not to enter the profession. So that sort of dried up the pipeline for new teachers. And when we return to fully in-person learning in the fall, there are administrators across the state who are worried that they will not have enough teachers to fill their classrooms.
Krim said that's not the only concern for schools. Education funding has been greatly cut during the pandemic, with over $1 million being taken due to tax cuts this past year. Krim said that with in-person learning now fully in session, teachers have enjoyed seeing the kids face-to-face, and he wants the community to recognize the hard work that teachers and school staff have done throughout this past year.
Okemos Public Schools now no longer identifies as the Chiefs, a name adopted after the legacy of Chief Okemos, chief of the Saginaw Chippewa tribe. Our own Catherine Weddle was out covering the story this summer. Take a look.
The history of Chief Okemos runs deep in Meridian Township. For years, community members have been retelling his story of leadership to friends and family. But with social injustice and systematic racism at the focus of our country's thoughts, the Okemos Public Schools Board of Education unanimously voted to leave behind the Chiefs nickname. This process can be traced back to the 1980s, when the Okemos Public Schools logo, at the time a Native American silhouette, was first questioned.
Certainly there's been division in the community, and we've heard from a lot of people that are supporting the change, and we've heard from people voicing also that they're upset with the change. And that really just goes to the historical divisiveness of this issue. That's been a common theme since the 80s, that thread of the community not being able to rally around or get agreement on what is the mascot of the Okemos Public Schools.
Outside Okemos High School lies an entrance sign that flashes the phrase, "Stronger Together." But eliminating the Chiefs nickname seems to be an issue the community can't come together on.
And I fully support the administration and board's unanimous decision to transition to a new mascot and logo for the district. This is a forward-thinking decision that demonstrates through action our district's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion.
By removing the chieftain name, you're attempting to erase history rather than teach it and learn from it. Aaron Payment was quoted in a July 19th, 2020 Detroit Free Press article saying, "Individual Indians do not speak for their nation, yet you've chosen to use Dr. Payment as a voice of all Native Americans representing our chiefs."
The estimated total cost for the nickname change is about $427,000 for new uniforms, scoreboards, signage, and merchandise.
I've applied for a grant from the Native American Heritage Fund, NAHF, and pleased to announce that we received their largest grant award given out this year of just over $213,000 to offset the costs of the mascot change.
Superintendent Hood says the board will continue to not only educate, but include the community in the new nickname decision. In Meridian Township, Catherine Weddle, HOMTV.
As of now, the school district is actively looking to name a new mascot and has narrowed down to a list of 10 choices, including ocelots, eagles, and wolves, and is expected to have a final decision by the end of spring break next April. For more information on Chief Okemos and the school board's decision, visit the Okemos Public Schools website.
Of course, our year in review wouldn't be complete without mentioning our award-winning election coverage. Unofficial results for the May 4th special election in Ingham County were posted on the Ingham County Clerk's Office website as of 11:11 p.m. on May 4th. In Meridian Township, voters in the Okemos Public Schools District voted on 2 school proposals, with both passing. The Okemos Public Schools operating millage renewal proposal passed with 3,522 votes in favor and 800 votes against. The Okemos Public Schools Sinking Fund millage proposal passed with 2,972 votes in favor and 1,345 votes against. The turnout for this election in Meridian Township was 23.35%, with a total of 4,332 voters. For the detailed list of the unofficial 2021 May special election results, visit the Ingham County Clerk's website.
On March 10th, at approximately 12:50 p.m., Meridian Township Police responded to a store theft at the 2000 block of Grand River Avenue. The suspect was located and arrested in a nearby parking lot where a witness recorded the arrest and turned the footage over to the police department with concern regarding the level and manner of force used in the arrest. Here's what Meridian Township Manager Frank Walsh had to say on the topic.
Well, our 43,000 residents are well aware that we take things very seriously in our law enforcement aspect. We have a track record of that, and this is no different. We'll be open, we'll be transparent, and we'll let the process play out. And then, like in any other case, we'll deal with the situation that's before us. We are committed to providing outstanding and safe law enforcement protection of this community, and our department has our state accredited department has a good record of that. That doesn't mean that mistakes are not made, and we will handle this accordingly.
The accused officers were placed on a paid administrative leave before a review from the Michigan State Police and Ingham County Prosecutor's Office. Both detectives, Daniel King and Michael Hagbaum, were found to be justified in their use of force, and the county prosecutor found that neither were guilty of criminal charges. Then, on April 23rd, Meridian Township Police Chief Ken Plaga held a press conference to show the body cam footage. The police department said that the suspect has been charged with retail fraud. The full press conference, along with the videos, can be found on the Meridian Township website. Did you know, Elena, that 24% of Meridian Township Police Department's officers are female? That is double the state and national averages of female officers at 12%, according to MLive.
Well, actually, I did know that, Logan, but did you know that HOMTV's Rachel Ramsey talked with some female Meridian police officers back in July about this statistic and about what it's like to work in a male-dominated workplace? Take a look.
The Meridian Township Police Department is home to many police officers. Meridian Township, in particular, has double the amount of female police officers than the state average. I'm Rachel Ramsey, and I sat down with Captain Rick Grillo to discuss the above-average number of female police officers in Meridian Township.
We want to represent our community as well as we can, and diversifying with the number of males and female officers is something that we really take a lot of pride in here.
I talked with some of Meridian Township's female police officers to discuss their experience as a female officer in Meridian Township.
It definitely has its challenges, but I don't think it's not too bad here at Meridian Township. You know, they treat you really well, and that's a plus. Meridian Township has taught me a lot. This is my first job as a police officer, so they've taught me everything. They've made me grow so much, and they've sent me to so many trainings to help me with different things, and it's been a great experience working here.
I think being a female police officer just means being a good role model in the community. You know, there's other girls who would look up to me and want to be a female police officer someday, so just making sure every day I set the best example for them.
In Meridian Township, Rachel Ramsey for HOMTV.
On behalf of all of Meridian Township, we thank the boys and girls in blue for all of their hard work in 2021 and beyond.
Let's go from blue to green. Michigan State University hosted the annual Xavier to Grow Autism Foundation Spartan Supports Autism Awareness event on October 19th. Food and drink were served as the CEO of the foundation and hosted the event, Xavier to Grow, handed out awards to members. During the event, Meridian Township Police Chief Ken Plaga received the Kindness and Leadership Award for aid in helping educate the police on how to best interact with individuals with autism.
So I got a Leadership and Kindness Award from the Xavier to Grow Foundation. That was for my participation and assistance, and really the police department and township's participation and assistance in bringing autism awareness forward, helping Xavier with events that brought awareness and acceptance to autism, as well as his work to pass legislation so that law enforcement officers would know when they came into contact with somebody with autism, anybody on the spectrum, so if they have light sensitivity or other issues that may cause them to act what may be perceived as abnormal by law enforcement, but which is just how the person on the spectrum would act.
Though the event is over, you can keep up with the Foundation's events by visiting their website, xaviertogrowautismfoundation.org.
Tavis Millerov was named the new Meridian Township Fire Marshal in 2021. Our own Catherine Weddle spoke with him to find out a little bit about what it took for him to reach this promotion.
On June 24th, Tavis Millerov was promoted to Fire Marshal in Meridian Township, a title he says he's been working for since he was a child, following after his father's footsteps, who just retired after 50 years in the fire service. And although he grew up around his father's fire station, his accomplishments did not come without hard work.
I also wanted to make sure I went to college, so I went to Lake Superior State University and got my bachelor's degree in fire science. I started here at Meridian Township in 2000 and worked as a regular firefighter medic for the first 14 years that I worked here. And in 2014, I promoted up to the position of fire inspector within the fire prevention division.
Millerov brought HOMTV along with him to an inspection to see a behind-the-scenes look at his day-to-day duties.
You can take the fire prevention side of the job and really narrow it down into three categories, which is, inspection, fire investigation, and then public education. And that's kind of the three hallmarks of what fire prevention is.
So one of my duties as the fire marshal is I do have the responsibility of the fire investigation work for the department, which for our purposes, the state law says we have to make a good faith effort to find the cause and origin of any fire that happens. So what we had here was a fire that happened on Sunday night, a car fire here on the side of the road. So I'll come out, take a look at these, try to glean any information I can to kind of give us an idea of what may have caused the fire, where it started at, and kind of go from there.
Milrove noted that he recognizes movies and TV give the Fire Marshal title a bad rep.
Yes, I have some of the bad guy tendencies and people kind of see me that way. However, that's not the overall goal. I can count on one hand in 7 years how many times I've issued a citation. So it's all about compliance and getting people to do the right things and be safe about it.
In Meridian Township, Catherine Weddle, HOMTV.
Make sure if you see Fire Marshal Millerov around to say hello, and we look forward to seeing him in this role next year.
Staying with the fire department, Meridian Fire added a shiny new piece of equipment to their garage, a new ATV that is now in use. The finishing touches have been placed on the back of the ATV along with more equipment. The ATV will be used on all trails and parks in the township and areas where township residents would have to be physically carried. The ultimate goal of the ATV is to protect residents from injuries on and off the road. For more information or questions about the ATV or the Township Fire Department, please contact them at 517-853-4700.
Going back a little ways now, in November 2018, Michigan residents had the opportunity to vote on Michigan Proposal 1, otherwise known as the Marijuana Legalization Initiative. 55.89% of Michigan voters voted in favor of this ballot proposal, making recreational marijuana legal in Michigan for those 21 years and older.
There are currently no recreational marijuana shops in Meridian Township, but the Meridian Township Board has had discussions about what it may look like should they opt in for recreational marijuana. But Meridian voices a group of concerned residents is opposed to bringing recreational marijuana to the township. Lucy Van Regenmorter had the chance to visit this topic more with the panel in July. Take a look.
During a busy day at the Meridian Township Farmers Market, resident Phil Pavona stands collecting signatures. The petition, started by Pavona and the Meridian Voices group, would give citizens the right to vote on the presence of recreational marijuana shops in Meridian Township. Currently, the Township Board makes that call.
As a parent who raised his kids here and has grandkids here, my preference would be that it not be so. But nonetheless, at the very least, it should be the people of Meridian Township that decide whether or not this is something they would like to have in their community.
Pavona, who has worked with teens with substance abuse issues, believes these shops will be harmful to the community. However, even if the petition receives enough signatures, there is no guarantee citizens will vote against recreational marijuana shops.
Meridian voted 61% for recreational. And I know, we do hear from the folks that have concerns, which is absolutely important, but I know it's more difficult when you're content with the decision to kind of come out and speak out, but also there's a stigma associated with this.
Township trustee Courtney Wazinski emphasized that regulating marijuana through dispensaries could actually keep communities safer.
If we can regulate this, any drug for that matter, but specifically, marijuana, that helps get some of that illicit drugs off the street.
If the petition receives enough signatures, residents will get to make their choice to allow or ban recreational marijuana shops in Meridian Township on the November ballot. In Meridian Township, Lucy Van Regenmorter, HOMTV.
The group collected over 1,000 valid signatures for a ballot ordinance to completely prohibit adult use in recreational marijuana establishments in Meridian. The Township Board proposed a vote on recreational marijuana for next November.
Another ongoing story to look for at the end of this year heading into next is the Daniels Drain Project. The project continued its ongoing construction to improve the stormwater infrastructure and decrease pollution at Walden Pond, located at 1555 West Pond Drive number 22 in Okemos. This project is also in response to a petition by Meridian Township residents in 2016 with a resolution to the Township Board to authorize the Township Department of Public Works to begin the special assessment process for the project from their September 21st meeting. Once the water is low enough, it will make it easier for herpetologists to find and remove wildlife such as turtles, frogs, snakes, and other critters from the polluted water and to relocate them to another pond down the road at Sparrow Laboratory, which is part of the same drainage system. Restoration of Walden Pond has already begun in 2021 and will continue into the spring of 2022.
A Meridian Township meeting from November 16th had a standing room only crowd for a hearing on the Daniels Drain Improvements project, many of whom were not happy about the proposal. The meeting was held for the public to comment on the project, which takes place in Special Assessment District number 21. Hear how some voiced their displeasure, including Township resident Mike Osborne.
Nobody was informed of it in advance or the costs. And now I hear tonight something new to me is we got a lien on our houses. This doesn't add one nickel to any of our houses, nobody's house. Doesn't add any value to it. It's a repair project that could have been done by just doing the real problem, solving the drain.
Current remaining costs for Meridian Township towards the project sit at just over $5 million, and a second hearing is scheduled for before the spring of 2022.
Believe it or not, we had more drain stories in the township this year also.
Yeah, Logan, the Namoka Drain Project also got plenty of headlines, especially in the Hazlet area. After many homes and businesses experienced years of flooding and mold, the Namoka Drain Project has been working to install new storm sewer systems, pipes, asphalt work, and paving. The project was first started by a petition filed by residents in the area. The construction will be affecting Colby, Edson, Lake Lansing, Potter, and Shaw Street. This drain project was a success, with construction fully underway by October 19th, and the road and drain work was completed early this month. Residents should expect some minor grass restoration in the spring.
The Michigan Department of Transportation held 2 public meetings on November 4th to discuss the upcoming M43 Road construction. HOMTV's Jace Konopka has more.
On Thursday, November 4th, 2021, representatives of the Michigan Department of Transportation, or MDOT, met with the Meridian Township public to discuss the newest road project in development. This project is planned for 2022 and 2023 on Grand River, and this meeting allowed for input and concerns. Greg Losh, MDOT's Transportation Service Center, had this to say of the event.
We're here tonight to offer a public meeting, an informational meeting about a project that we hope to deliver this next year, 2022 and 2023. Out on Grand River between Park Lake Road and Oak Point.
Citizen Marna Wilson with the Indian Hills Homeowners Association had this to say.
This project is going to be so impactful on our neighborhood. We already are experiencing tremendous traffic impact because of Okemos Road intermittent closures, and there's a current closure of a lane on Mount Hope. It's made it very difficult for our citizens, our homeowners, to walk the streets, to take their dog for a walk, our kids to ride bikes. And so with this new project, the M43 project, we want to know the extent of what this is, how it's going to intersect with the bridge closure that we had already anticipated, and do the best for our neighborhood in terms of reducing the traffic as much as possible during this year-long construction.
She also stated that the people of Township are very appreciative of MDOT's forthright attitude. Jace Konopka with HOMTV.
If you missed both meetings from November, the full presentation can be found on HOMTV's YouTube. MDOT will hold further meetings as the project progresses in the year to come.
2021 was the 11th year of Meridian Township's annual Deer Management Program. Our own Anna Marin shares with us some of the impact this program has had in the past and the present.
The Deer Management Program is an annual deer call performed by approved volunteers such as Matt DeLong, a bow hunter who has been with the program since the start. Over the course of the program, there has been a decline in deer car collisions in the Meridian Township area. Another key impact of the program is the community impact.
From a community aspect, it has just been so huge to have this group of 70, and then in the past we've had 75 hunters who are from the community. They are putting in countless, thousands of hours of volunteer work doing this. It's just creating a really awesome sense of community and getting people to connect who don't always get to connect. It's really great from that community aspect too.
Matt has also noticed a change in how the community has really warmed up to the program.
The first day we pulled up in the same place where we parked, we had neighbors coming down asking us when we were going to hunt, telling us where the deer were, asking us how many deer we were going to take. Please control the deer population. They were overwhelming their yards. And one lady was very concerned about the deer hanging out in her yard because she's got young children and lots of deer droppings in the yard. She was concerned about disease, all of those things.
It is important to note that the call helps the remaining deer stay healthier by reducing overpopulation.
I always enjoy seeing deer. We had fawns in our backyard this year, but too much of a good thing is a problem.
This is Anna Marin with HOMTV.
More information can be found on the Meridian Township website under the Community tab, and the program will continue through January 1st. I will mention, though, none of Santa's reindeers will be affected by the harvest come Christmas Eve.
Good to know, Elena. We'll stay outside with our next story as well. One of the top developments from the Township Parks and Recreation Department this year was the new Central Park Regional Trail Connector. The new east-west connection offers a half-mile paved trail, interpretive signage, electricity for motorized wheelchairs, a bike fix-it station, and a boardwalk accessible fishing platform. The trail begins near the Central Park Pavilion and runs west through the Central Park Connector to an existing paved trail in Central Park South. Along with the new and improved trail connector, the accessible gateway bridge and restroom building project, which will provide better service to the visitors of the historical village, was completed this spring. Both the new Central Park Regional Trail Connector and accessible gateway bridge and restroom building project are important aspects in the Recreation Master Plan Survey, which will help shape Meridian in years to come. Township Parks and Recreation Department was busy all year, weren't they, Elena?
Yeah, Logan. Another shiny addition this year were solar panels on the roof of the Meridian Service Center. Installed by Absolute Solar, a Lansing and Meridian Township-based company, the project was a part of the Meridian Climate Sustainability Plan. With a 25-year material warranty, Absolute Solar said the panels will offset approximately 100% of the building's electrical use.
Is 355 panels. Each panel is 400 watts. So that's a total of 142 kilowatts, which is going to produce about 161,000 kilowatt hours per year, which is a ton of energy. To help put that more in perspective, this will produce enough energy that would offset the use of 20 average-sized single-family homes.
This is basically a process that has gone on for quite a bit of time and a lot of planning and hard work by a lot of great people in Meridian. And this is also to add on to our last project that we worked on, which was the Okemos Fire Station over on Okemos Road, where there is a 40 kilowatt solar system right now. And then this is the next step in that process. And so we're really proud to be a part of it and honored to be able to help Meridian Township.
The installation cost the township $290,000. However, Absolute Solar said by 2030, the township would have saved over $580,000, including purchase costs.
Staying green, Montessori Radmore School at Meridian Township was awarded a green infrastructure grant from the township this summer in order to develop eco-friendly places within the area. The school in Okemos was awarded $47,046 to make improvements to the Pathway to Discovery, a trail that encircles the school and greenhouse, and fruit, vegetable, and herb gardens that the students plant, maintain, and harvest. Our own Jace Kanopka has more.
Montessori School has been hard at work with support of the new grant that has been given from Meridian Township. Davis Coy, the buildings and ground manager, had this to say.
We're sitting on about 9.5 acres, our school, and just over maybe, or just around then. What we did with the grant from Meridian Township is we divided it into two sections. So there's a nature trail that we're going to walk that that's going to start right here at this little corner, go all the way around. We're trying to come up with, managing our entire landscape for the better.
Although the project is still at work in progress, much has been done on the school grounds. Davis explained how the school plans to use the new developments not only for educational purposes, but to teach the students how to maintain the environment firsthand. Projects include bat houses, hundreds of saplings planted, and teaching about erosion. The school is beyond thankful for the overwhelming support they have received, including from the township, local vendors, and volunteers. The Montessori School has been doing this as easy as 1-2 tree. HOMTV, Jace Kanopka.
The project was completed this November with the help of volunteers, students, and the helpful people of Meridian Township.
This summer was a pretty eventful one, especially because people could get out of their homes and play sports. Logan, did you watch any games this summer?
I sure did, Elena. I got the chance to go to a few ball games this summer at the fields at Nancy Moore Park, but it wasn't what you quite might expect. Take a listen. One of India and East Asia's favorite pastimes can be found right here in Meridian Township. Ever heard of cricket? Every Saturday morning, the Lansing Cricket League has sanctioned games at Nancy Moore Park. Cricket, one of the world's most popular sports, is most akin to baseball, with a bowler and batsman taking the place of hitter and pitcher, wickets instead of a strike zone, and overs instead of innings. The softball fields at Nancy Moore aren't quite on par with the normal cricket field, and the teams use a soft baseball instead of a normally hard cricket ball, but the games are still full of international flair. Vanakam from left field, that's hello in Tamil, one of a number of different languages that the players use besides English. While many of them live right here in Meridian Township, most players have roots in other countries, such as Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and India, to name a few. Hear how it feels to be part of such a global game.
Well, if you look at it, cricket is the most watched sport in the world, so it is really fun to watch. It's really fun to play.
The league consists of 7 teams and have been playing at Nancy Moore Park for the past 2 seasons. From Meridian Township, I'm Logan Sella, HOMTV. The league played each Saturday morning at Nancy Moore Park and is expected to resume play next summer. What'd you think of my Tamil, Elena?
It sounded pretty good, Logan. This November, a creative display was added to the marketplace on the green and was revealed with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The ceremony began at 11:30 a.m. on November 19th with several Meridian Township officials to show their support, including the CEO and president of Lansing Economic Area Partnership, LEAP, Bob Trezise, who spoke with everyone in attendance. Meridian Township chose artist Dane Porter of Dane Porter Art Studio to enhance the recently updated marketplace on the Green Pavilion, with a $10,000 public art grant from LEAP with support from the PNC Foundation. The Meridian Economic Development Corporation contributed an additional $5,000 towards the project for Porter to design, fabricate, and install a new metal sculpture titled Sow. HOMTV spoke with Porter about how he feels about his art displayed at the marketplace on the green.
Very honored that I was chosen for the opportunity. When I received the grant, I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be. I knew that it was going to represent nature or something to do with the farmers market. So it's definitely a design that I am very proud of.
Porter hopes his art will open opportunities not only for himself, but for other artists in the community.
November was also Native American History Month, and the Nokomis Cultural Heritage Center is the perfect place to learn about the history of the Native American culture in the area. We caught up with Aaron Dokum, president of the center, this fall to talk about what the center has to offer.
What we do here is we are a resource center for both Native and non-Native people. My mission is to share the fluent language that I speak, which is Ojibwe.
Aaron and others who run the center will gladly share their history with anyone who wishes to learn. You can visit the center for a culturally enriching experience.
High Caliber Karting and Entertainment held their expansion ceremony with fire, games, and more on September 18th. The indoor entertainment facility gained 25,000 square feet of new space, making them one of the largest indoor family entertainment centers in the world. With the expansion, High Caliber installed the double clutch sports bar, throw bowling, archery, and Nerf tag, axe throwing, and more. Outside, they featured a fire juggler and eater, booths giving away free Monster energy drinks, and ice cream, and even a monster truck.
I get these crazy ideas, and I always tell everybody it's like I run through and I bulldoze everything over and I leave this wake of destruction, but all these wonderful people, they come behind, they pick it up, they put it together because we all have the same goal, is to improve this area and make people connect. And I'd be a complete failure if it wasn't for everybody. I mean, I would be a miserable failure if it wasn't for all of these people who just, they care. And so to everybody that's watching this, who was involved in this, like, thank you.
With 32 beers on tap and artwork inside from about 60 local artists and lots of activities, High Caliber President Jordan Munster said they have a place for all ages.
Man, I tell you what, Elena, that looks like a lot of fun. High-caliber karting and entertainment is located inside the Meridian Mall. I heard you got to try some of the new stuff out firsthand?
Yeah, Logan, I have to tell you, when I got there, I got to try axe throwing, and I don't have that bad of a shot. You're a baseball player. You probably hit a bullseye.
I like how you think.
On September 21st, the Township Board meeting revealed the survey results carried out to the residents of Meridian Township that the Cobalt research community did over the month of August and into September. The survey results were recorded and presented to the Township Board members through a 53-page presentation from William St. Amour from the nonprofit Cobalt Research Coalition. The survey focuses on providing feedback based on the priority of needs addressed by the residents chosen to participate in the study.
So just as a reminder, Cobalt, we are a 501c3 not-for-profit. We're based here in Michigan. We work across the country with communities very much like yours on community planning and other kinds of data issues. Study goals, really we wanted to support the budget planning, the strategic planning, and policy decisions that you're looking at. Again, coming in and checking your baseline measures to see how you're doing, to make sure you've got a good distribution of services locked in so you can come back and measure progress in the future. Understand if your presumed service experiences are actually accurate in the eyes of your residents, and look to see which experiences residents have that have the most resonance for them, that are the strongest drivers of outcome behaviors like remaining in the community, the recommending to others, and those types of things.
Major drivers for residents included township services, community image, public works, police services, and transportation infrastructure, with a strong theme of improved and expanded walking and cycling infrastructure, as well as township safety, parks, and public schools. For more information about the survey results, you can find the full presentation at our YouTube channel.
The Meridian Township Park Commission and the Friends of Historic Meridian held a dedication ceremony at the Meridian Historical Village to honor the memory of John Grettenberger Sr. on Saturday, September 18th. The ceremony began at 10:30 a.m. and was open to the community to remember John, who passed away last year battling cancer. He was 82 years old. John was also the vice president of General Motors and a general manager of Cadillac Motor Car Division. John's family and friends gave testimonials at the village chapel. Jane Rose, the former executive director of the Meridian Historical Village, knew John and his family and told HOMTV how she will remember him.
He's missed, certainly, and he will be missed by many for a long time. He brought things to life for people. And as I said, he was a joy and delight to work with and to get to know. And I'm going to miss that level of enthusiasm.
A small reception was held after the ceremony with refreshments outside the Meridian Historical Village. John's memory will live on in his friends, family, and the community members of Meridian Township.
Indeed, we hope John's memory lives on in 2022 and in the future.
This fall, Meridian Township was slated to receive over $4.5 million in funding to spend over the next 5 years from the American Rescue Plan Act. This could be spent on services such as infrastructure, broadband, and roads. Listen in to the Township Board meeting from October 5th.
Mr. Walsh, you want to bring this up or comment on it?
Sure, thank you. We expect to receive about $4.5 million in American Rescue Plan funding. I believe that you have 4 or 5 years to appropriate and spend those funds. There are some limitations on it. I'm not an expert on exactly what those are, but I know that you can spend it on infrastructure and broadband. Water sewer infrastructure, roads, those sort of things. One of the questions that came up today that I'm looking into is, are you able to allocate that towards parks? But we're going to look into this a whole lot more. We wanted to get through the budget process before we brought this to you, and now we're through the budget process, so we're bringing this to you.
The board spoke on the matter most recently at the December 14th TB meeting and plans to shelf discussion on the matter until next year. Our next story takes us to Santa's workshop.
Yeah, Logan, and we fit right in with the red and the green. The Meridian Town Hall room was full of colorful wrapping paper, Christmas music, and volunteers preparing presents for seniors for the Be a Santa to a Senior campaign on December 10th. Be a Santa to a Senior campaign is where anonymous donors give presents to seniors who might not otherwise get one on Christmas. How the campaign works is a senior would write down what they want, and the donor would get a paper ornament card with the senior's request. The donor would then fulfill that request and send send the gift off to volunteers who then wrap the presents. Once the presents are wrapped, the seniors pick them up and get the presents delivered. The event founder, Home Instead, is an organization that does home care for seniors so that seniors can live in their homes rather than in a long-term care facility. The program started 20 years ago, and the event is far-reaching, going on in both the U.S. and Canada. Amy Esterline, one of the volunteers at the event and franchise owner of the Lansing branch of Home Instead, sheds some light on how you can get involved with Seniors for Santa if you would like to. Speaking of Christmas cheer, who better than St. Nick himself?
He's coming to town, literally. On Sunday, December 12th, the Meridian Historical Village hosted a Christmas-themed holiday event that many enjoyed, including a very special guest. The event went from 2 to 4 p.m. and the community decorated the whole village, including cookies and sweets. The volunteers were ecstatic to give children the opportunity to meet Santa firsthand and to get some candy canes.
You know, kids and parents, they all love Santa, but you know who else does?
Tell me.
Dogs. On December 10th, dogs filled the Central Park Pavilion for the Here Comes Santa Paws event. Dogs and their owners had the opportunity to go on a beautiful scenic walk throughout the Meridian Historical Village and take a picture with Santa afterward.
I get to see all the dogs coming here to see Santa, and dogs love Santa, and they get a little treat, get a little toy out of the Santa's toy box right there. And I had a beautiful walk. The weather held out, so I think that everybody enjoyed it.
Over 25 dogs came with their owners Friday evening, supplied with hot chocolate, treats, and squeaky toys.
Some owners might even say the event was pawsome.
Very nice, Logan. That pun was a treat.
As I'm sure you're aware, there were plenty of construction projects in Meridian Township this year. We go back to our own Lucy Van Regenmorter, who gave us an update this summer.
All Meridian Township road projects are expected to be completed by the end of the summer or early fall. Many projects have taken longer than expected to complete due to weather factors.
Appreciate everyone's patience, but that's unfortunately with all the rain we had. You know, if you get an hour of rain, it basically we lose a whole day worth of work, depending on whether we're pouring concrete or what we're doing on the paving portion. So.
The remaining roads that require milling will be milled this week, and base paving will be added to the roads that have been milled already. Restoration on the earlier Crush and Shake Street projects will also begin this week, which includes restoring lawns and finishing up driveway impacts for residents.
All we ask is for some grace from our residents, and come this fall when everyone has brand new roads, it'll all be worth it.
In Meridian Township, Lucy Van Regenmorter, HOMTV.
Don't worry, there's more local road updates for the years to come. Some projects like resurfacing near Pine Hollow Drive and Over Glen Court have been pushed back to the spring of 2022.
Time to talk about TikTok, which is not the sound your clock makes, but an app where people of all ages make videos for thousands to millions of viewers. One trend on this app was concerning to parents and teachers, and it was called a Devious Lick. Basically, the trend involves students stealing or completing other challenges at school and then posting what they did on TikTok. Now, there's a list involving challenges for each month, like for this month, which was in September, which is smacking a staff member. We spoke with Meridian Township Officer Chrissy Scatia about the consequences kids could face if they did these challenges.
You could face school sanctions like being suspended, in-school suspension. I suppose if you were on an extracurricular activity, you could have that taken away from you as well. And not only that, it could turn into criminal action. With the assault, the assaultive behavior, they could press charges for assault, the damage to property, the theft of property. And these are things of that level that could stay on their record for a really long time, or looking forward to a job or for college, that's going to be on their record, and that's something that they need to think about.
Meridian Township has not had any incidents related to Devious Licks. However, Scatia said education and open communication between schools, parents, and students are the best way to avoid these challenges happening.
Looking ahead to 2022 now, the Ingham County Road Department will be replacing 2 existing bridges over the Red Cedar River with 1 single bridge. Though the majority of construction will take place early next year, the signal work at Okemos and Mount Hope Roads was well underway this fall. Our Isabella Martin was live at the scene.
The Ingham County Road Department will be replacing these 2 existing bridges on Okemos Road.
A single combined bridge will be built, along with drainage and road improvements being done as well. This project is projected to begin later this year or early 2022. It should be completed summer of 2022. With HOMTV, I'm Isabella Martin.
The new bridge will still have 2 travel lanes in each direction, and there will be added turn lanes for people to take left turns into the parks on either side of the river. This new bridge will also include non-motorized paths for pedestrians to cross the river and another underneath the bridge that connects Wash and Ferguson parks.
After the Oxford High School shooting in late November, dozens of Michigan students were arrested for threatening schools. Meridian Township Police Chief Ken Plaga said the best way to keep schools secure and stop these threats are to build relationships and keep an open line of communication with students, faculty, and police. Talk with your children and monitor their social media. If you own firearms, keep them in a secure location and contact the police if you're aware of any threats. Plaga also said possible threats of danger will be taken seriously by the department, and legal or administrative action could be taken against the offender even if the threat is false.
Keeping our eyes on the future again, in 2021, Meridian Township has witnessed the start of various projects, developments, and businesses all around the Okemos and Hazlet area. The COVID pandemic has posed a particular set of challenges to projects set for the completion into the spring of next year. Starting with Buddy's Pizzeria, located at 2010 West Grand River Road. This location is under construction, with the development process currently focusing on the interior part of the building as it requires additional systems put in place. The facility is expected to open sometime between March and April of 2022.
Joe's on Jolly has been under construction for over 8 months and is currently experiencing delays due to specific chain issues and construction framing complications. The development process has been slowly moving forward with most of the exterior building constructed. The project is anticipated for completion later next year.
Hazlet Marathon has currently been undergoing a renovation process featuring a new gas pump, an upgraded 6,622 square foot facility, and the installation of new door frames and the windows for the interior and exterior part of the building, which is set for completion in early 2022. Tim Schmidt, Director of Community Planning and Development, spoke with HOMTV about why certain projects may be delayed.
We're just seeing a lot of uncertainty still because of the upheaval that we had in the commodities market and the labor market this summer. And so we're just starting to get back to a new sense of normal. And so I think we're going to have a bit of a quiet winter, I expect. And then I think next April or May, it's going to be pretty nuts around here from a construction perspective.
For more information about the current development plans and updates, visit the 2021 development page at Meridian's website.
A first in mid-Michigan, a possible new Trader Joe's location in Meridian Township has caused quite a buzz in the community. First mentioned at the December 8th Zoning Board of Appeals meeting, the store will be located at 5030 Northwind Drive, just off of Grand River Avenue, where the Golden Walk restaurant sits currently.
This is really just the first step in the process. The applicant was requesting a variance to allow additional parking on the site beyond what our ordinance would allow. This is because they have data that shows the amount of turnover that they have is substantially higher than most traditional retail outlets. Therefore, they need additional parking so as not to cause undue burden on surrounding properties as well. The Zoning Board of Appeals granted that variance, and now there's a number of steps that the applicant needs to go through before they get to construction.
According to Township Board Trustee Dan Opsimer, he sees the store opening in late 2022 or early 2023.
To wrap it up, let's look at the Township Goals for 2022. Goals include economic development, environmental sustainability, community engagement, diversity, public safety, and more. Frank Walsh, Township Manager, gave a presentation shedding light on what the board wants to achieve in 2022. He also reveals some of the hard work that goes into drafting yearly goals.
This is about 10 to 15 hours of work by the board. The first review of it, and then an all-day session last Saturday, and then this evening. So this is the third time the board is looking, receiving, or considering their goals.
The meeting included a look back at what was accomplished in 2021, as well as possible benchmarks for the future.
2021 was such a great year, right, Logan?
Yeah, it sure was, Elena. There was a lot of events to be covered, and thank you for sticking with us through it all.
From all of us at HOMTV, we want to thank you for staying with us this year, and we hope to see you next year.
As always, remember you can stay up to date with all Township news by following us on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, HOMTV.net. Thanks for joining us. I'm Logan Sella.
And I'm Elena Cugino. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.